Headlining this hour, Russia's foreign minister reveals the incoming US administration has been invited to the next Syria peace talks to be held in Kazakhstan next Monday. A declaration of war, European leaders' reaction to Donald Trump's verbal attack on the continent's refugee policy, as the US president-elect also questions NATO's existence. But the outgoing US president sees the military alliance differently. An American Air Force video shows a training exercise in Poland called Obama's final message to Putin. Hello, live worldwide. This is RT International. It's now 2 p.m. on Tuesday here in Moscow. I'm Colin Bray with your world news. First this hour, Russia's foreign minister says the incoming US administration has been invited to the next Syria peace talks that will take place in Kazakhstan next week. Sergei Lavrov confirmed that during a marathon news conference in Moscow. Daniel Hawkins has been what was said. Let's talk to him now. Daniel, bring us up to speed on that news conference.
Well, Colin, there was a wide range of international domestic issues covered by Sergei Lavrov in his annual address. The main one, as you said there, perhaps, was certainly the Syria ceasefire news. That news that Sergei Lavrov thinks it is important to have representatives from the new US administration and also the United Nations in those talks in Astana, Kazakhstan's capital, on Monday. Now, what sets this aside, of course, is usually a process like this would involve the brokers of a ceasefire, so Russia, Turkey, Iran, the Syrian government and the major opposition groups. The US, of course, didn't participate in the brokering of the original ceasefire, nevertheless has been invited. And, of course, as we said earlier, what really sets these talks aside is the presence of those opposition groups containing the bulk of so-called moderate opposition, tens of thousands of forces in Syria. What's interesting also is that this could perhaps be viewed as a bit of an olive branch put out by the Russian government towards the new US administration in light of some months and years of, to put it mildly, frayed relations, and what's really been viewed previously as a snub towards the US government by Kremlin. Let's have a listen.
Mr. Kerry doesn't see it as a snub.
No, the Secretary doesn't see this as a snub at all.
Does he not at least feel the U.S. is being sidelined, if not excluded, from what was something the U.S. was leading on?
We are not excluded. We are not being sidelined.
Our readout is quite different from his role before.
And we are still leading.
Right now, this leadership that you're speaking of is all past tense. Is that not true?
I would disagree.
Now, it wasn't all pink and rosy, however. Sergei Lavrov did mention the diplomatic tensions and difficulties the US and Russia had been experiencing, namely allegations of espionage by US diplomatic staff in Russia, as well as engaging in what he described as participation in undercover in illicit rallies organized by the Russian opposition. He cited recruitment attempts by the US special forces, special services rather, of Russian diplomatic staff in Moscow. One particular incident in April 2016 when a member of staff was allegedly offered $10,000 to provide intelligence. Of course, Lavrov couldn't leave the allegations of Russian hacking without an answer. I'll move on to those in a sec. Let's just take a listen to what he said, though, on those diplomatic tensions.
If we're talking about recruitment attempts, we didn't make all the information public on this. But recently, in the last few years, especially during Obama's second administration, unfriendly activity directed at our diplomats has been increasing.
Now, regarding those hacking attempts, Lavrov quite candidly pointed out that in Europe, in the West, the key tenet of innocence until proven guilty is one of the founding pillars of the legal system. Nevertheless, the attitude towards Russia, he has said, with regards to these ongoing saga, hacking allegation saga, is that the opposite, guilty until proven innocent. He said that these allegations were unfounded, were baseless, they lacked evidence, and he said he didn't see why he had to provide any evidence refuting the claims when no evidence had actually been provided backing up those allegations to start with. So certainly a lot of issues covered by Lavrov, Colin, but the main one hitting global headlines will no doubt be the invitation at long last of American representatives to those talks in Syria, or on Syria rather, in Astana on Monday.
OK, Daniel Hawkins in Moscow, thanks very much for bringing us up to speed on that news conference from a couple of hours ago. Now, of course, a lot of reporters were there. Our correspondent Ilya Petrenko was among them. This is the question he put to the foreign minister.
Channel Russia Today, the people who are to blame for everything.
Is this a hashtag already?
Sure, for a long time already.
I wanted to ask you a question about some reports that have emerged in Western media outlets. For example, the discrediting evidence on Donald Trump from quite a while back. Just yesterday, the BBC aired a documentary about it. Media in Germany have added to the hysteria over Russian propaganda too. What motives can be behind all these reports, in your opinion?
These are the convulsions of those who understand that their time has passed. It's not possible anymore to promote liberal, permissive values in every possible sphere, in your private life or in foreign policy. That's because serious people want to deal with solving the real problems of their own countries instead. The time for demagogues in foreign politics has gone, and that hurts them. That's why fake news is being fabricated.